Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Davey Deathray here. Hope you guys are doing very well today. It is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. How about that? Yeah, guys, last minute live stream here. I know it's at a totally different time than when I usually do it. I've just got a crazy couple days lined up for just my YouTube stuff and personal life and everything. So I had to jump on because I saw a couple news pieces drop here. And so let me just give you guys an idea. So very, very busy day. 2 p.m. had my therapy appointment. Here I am, 4 p.m. going live. 5 p.m. I'm going to watch the new episode of Alien Earth while I work out. Then I'm going to shower right after that, jump into a live stream over on Fachi Cinema because we're going live at 6:15 my time, 9:15 Eastern, to have a watch party of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Then, after that, hopefully I've got enough time to sneak in a bite to eat because I've got to hop on a Zoom call with Cecil and Mahalo from the Horror Show channel, and we're going to film a review of Episode 7 from Alien Earth. So, jam-packed day. I don't know if Late Night with the Davey is going to happen tomorrow for a couple of reasons. Number one is I'm going to a press screening of the movie Him tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. I'm very excited for that. I'm also going to go over to Cecil's at like 2 o'clock. We're going to watch a couple movies before going to Him. So going to knock out a couple more first-time watches. I think these are newer movies from Fantastic Fest. So very excited to check all that stuff out. And Late Night with the Davey I could do before dark if I win at like 11 a.m. here. But my guys, Curtis and Jenks over at the Twisted Locker, they're going live at the same time. And I don't want to try to, I feel like we've got a lot of the same crowd. I don't want to take from there because they've got a normal thing they do on Wednesdays at that time. I don't want to stomp all over that. I also don't want both of our audiences to suffer as a result. So I might take the week off from Late Night with the Davey. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I'll let you guys know. But anyways, just very, very busy. I appreciate you all jumping in and hanging out with me here today. I understand it's maybe going to be a smaller group, but we're going to knock out these news stories. And for anyone that missed this live stream, if you're catching it after the fact, thank you so much for jumping on in. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content. And if you're a regular of mine and you just want to get to the news stories, I will have the news stories clipped out, dropped on the main part of the channel just with the standard videos so you can check those out at your leisure. But all of you that are showing up live right now, really extra appreciate you. Thank you so much. Make sure to hit that like button. There's not going to be any of this no super chat goals, no nonsense like that. Maybe I'll drop a poll in the audience for you, but we're going to, as you can tell, I'm kind of cruising on this one because I want to get through the news stories here and get through just one other thing. But I am going to stop right now and say what's up to everyone that's hanging out before we get rolling. So here we go. King Matthew III jumps in and says, "What's up, Davey? How are you tonight? I heard a rumor that the cameo in Scream 7 is supposed to be someone who was in the past films and someone who is on board for Scream 6. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a whole bunch of different appearances and cameos. So I haven't heard anything like that. I'm kind of like waiting to be surprised because we already know about a couple people returning. So as far as the Scream news goes, we are going to touch a little bit on that today, but it's really just going to be some stuff that Matthew Lillard said. So it's not really going to be any sort of spoilery stuff or anything like that. So I try to stay away from that stuff if I can. We got Chester Franklin Jr. in the house. What's happening, Chester? Adrian James, how you doing, Adrian? So good to see you. Lamontre Gillard is in the house as well. What's happening, Lamontre? We got Amanda, one of our great channel members, hanging out with us. What's happening, Amanda? Tara Brewer is watching Three Amigos on YouTube. Well, I'm jealous of you, Tara. I have so much to do. I wish I could I'm in the middle of a replay on Resident Evil 4. I would love to jump into that. Or watch Three Amigos. I guess I get to watch Season of the Witch later. That should be fun. That should be pretty relaxing. We got our guy Matt Fachi from Fachi Cinema jumping in to say 45 more days till Halloween. It's true, Matt. It's true. Can't wait to see you later on today, bud. It's going to be a blast. I think I'm going to at least try to pop some popcorn for that one, so I have something to snack on during the movie. We got Gory Tiger in the chat. What's happening, Gory? So good to see you, man. Great to have you, of course. A Troll Campbell, one of our great channel members. How you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for jumping on in. Brad Underwood, how you doing, Brad? Really good to see you as well. We got Gina, aka My Chunky Jordy, in the house. How are you doing, Gina? So good to see you. And holy cow, we've got Destiny Faulkner, one of our great Death Squad mods, hanging out with us as well. Des, hope you are having a good week. Yeah, we're going to just jump into this stuff right away, guys. So let's see here. The very first thing I want to talk about, because I've been trying to, I think right as of now, I've watched like 14 new movies this spooky season, new to me. So not just counting stuff in the theater or whatever. So these are all movies from the past that I've never seen before. And guys, I do plan on shooting little shorts, just short reviews of each one of these movies. But I figured as I watch them, it's kind of fun to talk about them on the live streams really quick. Just give kind of a general review, not really dive in too deep or anything like that. So just within the last few days, I've watched Curtains, I think from 1981, Curtains, Terror Train from 1980, and Ginger Snaps from, it debuted at a film festival in 2000, but it officially released in 2001. So going through these, Curtains first on the list. If you've never seen Curtains, don't watch it on Tubi or Amazon.com. Find another site. Find one of these like torrent sites, because the transfer on Tubi and Amazon are so dark, you really can't even tell. Like the first 15-20 minutes, tried watching it through Tubi, then went over to Amazon. It was the same thing. Found it on a site that Erica, one of our mods, shared with me, and it was actually, you know, a good transfer. So it doesn't have to do with the lighting in the capture of the film. Everything's fine, but it's going to be extremely dark if you watch it on if you watch it on Tubi or Amazon. And Curtains is you know, you've got Lynn Griffin from Black Christmas. She's really good here. She's the only actress that I knew, but I do know John Vernon, who plays the male lead here. He plays director Jonathan Stryker. You know, I know him from like Animal House, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, all that kind of stuff. So I will say Curtains is an interesting, like, you know, all the tropes and everything of slashers weren't really figured out at this point. The movie is a whodunit. And it's also got some psychological elements as well. It's sort of, in a way, it's kind of meta, because it's a movie about the pre-production of a movie. It's essentially a director that wants to audition 6 young actresses at his home, and there's an older actress that he has at least a working relationship with. But, you know, she's older now, and it's sort of about, like, you can tell he's kind of trying to find that new blood. You know, it's sort of commenting on the disposability of, you know, of female performers once they reach a certain age, if they're not like young beauties anymore or whatever. You know, it's kind of got that, but it's also just about sort of a little bit of the pretentiousness and the intensity that, you know, people go through in show business and that people put one another through, particularly what this director puts you know, all of the women in the movie through in this film. And I will say this about Curtains, you know, troubled production. A couple different directors were working on it. Neither one of them put their name on it officially. I think in the credits, they actually used Jonathan Stryker's name as the director, but he's the director in the film. You know, he's a character from within the film. So Curtains was pretty interesting and had some twists and turns that I didn't expect to see. There's certainly some choices there where there's a couple slow-mo shots where I'm like, I don't think they really needed the slow-mo here. But again, you know, it's early days of slashers. They're still trying to figure out their thing. I would say if you're a fan of 70s and 80s horrors and slashers, then Curtains is certainly worth your time to watch it at least once. I don't think it's something that, you know, I need to have in my collection. And who knows, maybe I'll revisit it somewhere down the line. But it was nothing that kind of wowed me or blew me away or anything like that. But I'm happy that I watched it. It does have, you know, some really memorable scenes, some scenes where you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? And Lynn Griffin is great. I think the ending of the movie and everything came a little bit quick for me. I think they could have drawn some of that out a little bit. but I still think it's effective. And I enjoyed Curtains. I did. You know, it could have. I was worried, especially after the first 15 minutes of watching it in the dark, barely lit. I was worried that it was going to be a terrible experience, but I had a fun time watching that one. And then next up is Terror Train. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis. We've got what's his name? Oh my gosh, the guy. What's the guy's name from? The guy from, oh my gosh, from Die Hard. What the heck is this guy's name? He plays Ellis in Die Hard. He's the jerk in Die Hard. Let's see here. What's this guy's name? Hart Bachner. Yes, he's in Terror Train as well. He plays a fabulous jerk in Terror Train. You've also got David Copperfield in there as well, of course. And Terror Train was... I think it was good, not great. I think the concept is pretty strong. I like the idea of the killer changing costumes throughout the night, so they're really difficult to track. You know, it takes some big swings and some big chances that no movie had taken before. It's got, you know, one of the reveals here comes years before, a few years before another big famous reveal in slasher history. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that hasn't seen Terror Train. It is available on Tubi to watch. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. I mean, you know, Jamie Lee's a relatively small piece of the movie because it's such an ensemble cast and there's a lot going on. But I think they do a good job of keeping you guessing until the end. And it's your classic, like, prank gone wrong turned into revenge slasher. Revenge whodunit slasher. So it's got all those staples like, you know, what is it? House on Sorority Row, I think, is very similar to that. Prom Night's got a similar thing with the prank gone wrong. But then it also has a little of that, you know, whodunit revenge feel like The Prowler or My Bloody Valentine. So really fun early 80s slasher. Again, a movie that's still trying to figure out how to do it. You know, really stuff hadn't been solidified yet. I think Terror Train suffers a little bit in that sense, but it's got, I really love the camera placement. I think the shots are interesting here. You know, you really do feel confined. There's a lot of handheld camera because it looks like they really are on a train. I would imagine they are on a train and it's not a set. David Copperfield is pretty charming here as well, even though he's not really an actor, although he is certainly a performer. And yeah, I had a fun time with Terror Train. And then Ginger Snaps. Just watched Ginger Snaps last night. I've heard people have talked about this movie for so long. I've heard so much about Ginger Snaps. So much good about this movie. And rightly so. It's really damn solid. You know, you got Catherine Isabel, who we also know from the beginning of Freddy versus Jason. She's also, both of the lead actresses are in the sequel and then the prequel to Ginger Snaps. I have not seen those. This is the only one I've seen. Shot in the same area that Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead was filmed, and I caught that right away and looked it up on IMDb, and while it's not the same exact street, it is the same town, just right outside of Toronto. So really cool little tidbit, I guess, there. And I think what I liked best about Ginger Snaps is it, you know, I went to high school in the late 90s. I graduated in 2000, so it reminded me so much of my high school experience. So it kind of brought me back there. It's got really great cinematography. The lighting, the costume design. Like, I knew there were chicks that went to my high school that had this look, this gothy kind of troubled look, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. I didn't call them freaks, but definitely a goth kind of look. And Ginger Snaps is a really interesting story about familial bonds and when those bonds can be, you know, taken advantage of or manipulated, and just what people are willing to do for their loved ones. It's a very interesting take on a werewolf story, and it has gorgeous practical effects, all practical effects. I read that about the film. The director, John Fawcett, wanted to make sure that this was all practical, and it's really, really, I mean, ballsy to do that back, you know, I would imagine they filmed it in early 2000 or maybe in 1999. And a lot of movies were using CG, especially for creature feature kind of stuff. So really great, like person in suit with like an animatronic head when you see the full reveal of the werewolf, which they do a really good job of keeping that from you until the time is right. So it's not something that's spoiled or overused. It's a very well measured movie. I think the runtime could have been cut by 5 to 10 minutes because I do think the third act drags a little bit, and there are some things that sort of, there's one thing in particular that gets set up, and I don't know why we never got like an end result of one of the things that's just sort of left there hanging. But ultimately, it didn't bother me. I still think the movie was really, really damn good, and probably one that I would jump back into, you know, in a year or two, or yeah, maybe a couple years, but something I could see myself wanting to watch around spooky season again sometime soon. And I don't know if you guys have seen the sequel and the prequel. Let me know if those are worth watching as well, and I'll check those out. But those are my recent first time watches. I'm gonna see what you guys have to say, and then we're gonna jump into this news. Let's see what we got. We got Eli Cortez. What's happening, Eli? Thank you so much for reminding everybody to slash that like button, sub to this amazing channel, and consider becoming a member of the mighty Death Squad for some awesome perks. Awesome perks like a watch party and a mixtape listening party on Discord every month, as well as 2 hangouts here on YouTube every month, early access to videos, all sorts of fun stuff. The members are even getting, there's a discount code. I still need to share it with you members there, Eli, but you get a different promo code on the shop for a 15% off instead of just the 10%. And guys, the 10% spooky season promo code on the Fourth Wall shop is not gonna last the whole month of September. I'll tell you that much. I will tell you that much. Destiny says, I enjoy Curtains. The Mask has been something I've seen since I was a kid, but didn't watch the movie until a couple years ago. Yeah, The Mask is freaky. The Mask is super freaky. Yeah. Scares the hell out of me. Let's see what we got here. Terror Train's a decent slasher. Enjoy it as well. Ginger Snaps is my favorite werewolf movie. I can totally see that. Yeah. Both actresses are in another Cinderella story where they also play sisters. Oh, that's pretty awesome. I mean, they have great chemistry, the 2 actresses. Yeah. Both pop up in the X-Files. All right. I've only seen a cherry-picked amount of episodes from the X-Files. What's happening, Sean? So great to see ya. Tara says, An American Werewolf in Paris is a prime example in werewolf movies, even though it's a sequel. Yeah, I've never seen Paris. I've seen London, but it's been a really long time, so I got to check that one out again. What's happening, Joel? So great to see you, man. Welcome on in. All right, guys, let's jump into some news because my time today is limited. So this thing just dropped. It dropped so recently, guys, that Eli Cortez didn't even get a chance to text it to me first. How about that? I saw this just drinking liquid IV. Don't mind me. This is day 41 of no alcohol. How about that? Cruising past middle of day 41. So I just saw this through Instagram, guys. Like I said, not even Eli had sent it to me. We've got an interview of Nick Castle on the Halloween the Game website. Just dropped today. How about it? I haven't even read it because I just saw it, like, seriously, I probably saw this a half hour ago, maybe 35 minutes ago, like right before I went live. I had to add it to the docket, moved it right to the front of the line. So let's take a look at this interview. This is on the HalloweenTheGame.com website here. I just want to make sure everything is running there. Okay, perfect. Here we go. Okay. So guys, we've got an interview with none other than Nick Castle on the Halloween the Game, or Halloween Game. Let me just start that all over. So guys, we've got an exclusive interview with none other than Nick Castle on HalloweenGame.com. I just saw this news story drop right before going live. Had to add it to the list. We got the OG shape there on the screen. Look at him. He's in his late 70s, but he's got that mocap suit on. And there is something, I've said this before, I'll keep on saying it again. There is some sort of X Factor quality that Nick Castle has that no one's been able to capture. And maybe that's just my personal opinion. I think James Jude Courtney is very, very close. I think he's easily the closest to capturing the 1978 version of the Shape from Halloween. But there is something about Nick Castle and the way he walks and the way he moves. It's almost something that just can't be taught. It's just intrinsically part of him. And I'm so happy that they brought him back for the video game here. I've got my Halloween Portal hat on. The folks from Trancas and Compass International were nice enough to send me some gear. Now we're talking about the video game, so we're repping the gear. Let's check this article and interview out. We're just going to go through the whole thing. How about that? So here we go. The headline reads, Nick Castle talks Halloween. Nick Castle talks all things Halloween with some behind the scenes at the Mocap Studio. So yeah, this just dropped earlier today. And the article reads, the Halloween team has seen how excited fans have been about the announcement of Nick Castle's involvement in Halloween. We know the community has a great deal of questions about his role in the project, and we had the privilege of talking with the OG Shape himself about returning to Haddonfield to be a part of this game. We feel so honored to be involved in Halloween, nearly 50 years since the film's original release. Nick shares that sentiment and genuinely couldn't imagine he'd be stepping back into the role of Michael all this time later. He jokingly remarks, quote, I was just hoping the film would help John get another job, end quote. It's clear when talking to Nick that there was an immense amount of joy and dedication from everyone involved to translate the iconic cinematics to the video game world. The mocap session was a prominent example of these commitments. Nick discussed how much fun he had recreating the signature movements like Michael's intimidating walk and his unforgettable head tilt. With Nick stating, quote, well, it did make me go watch the movie again to see just what the hell I did that contributes to the success of the character, end quote. And we've got a really nice picture there. I don't know if that's one of the victims, or maybe they did have two people playing Michael for some of the stunts. I don't know. It doesn't say here. Maybe some of the interview will shed some light on this picture here that you see there on your screen. So continuing the article, stepping back into the Shape shoes came with some help from new talent. The team is proud to announce that prolific actor and stuntman Stepping back into the Shape shoes came with some help from new talent. The team is proud to announce that prolific actor and stuntman TJ Storm worked alongside Nick Castle to bring Michael to life in the game. All right, so we've got our answer there. Quote, the folks creating the game wanted the character to be as authentic as possible, and I did my best to capture the original movements. It was fun to do that, and I had a great time with the team, end quote. When asked about what it was like to work alongside TJ, Nick states that he was, quote, a real sweetheart, very professional, and takes his job seriously, end quote. We were also told that TJ is a great listener and incorporated Nick's suggestions into his work. Bringing the boogeyman back to Halloween is being made possible thanks to the efforts of the original director John Carpenter and longtime producers of the Halloween franchise Malik Akkad and Ryan Freeman. Nick and John remain close friends and regularly hang out off camera. Additionally, Nick says that he has a strong relationship with Malik and Ryan and is always there for them when they call. Everyone involved truly appreciates how beloved this movie continues to be. And then we have a nice shot there of Nick working with TJ there, just going over his moves and everything. So, yeah, love the collaborative process here. And understandably, you know, you want Nick there, but he can't do everything. So, so I'm glad they're covering their bases here. Okay, we're just about to get into the interview part, guys. Nick relayed some of his thoughts on the lasting impact of this independent film. Quote, there's a gigantic fan base that I get to meet in cities all around the country and parts of the world, going to horror and fan conventions. It's a big part of some people's lives. It's been a big influence in the genre. Nice to see John get the honors he deserves now that he is ancient. End quote. While Nick so generously offered his time, we couldn't help asking him ample questions about his work on the original film. Below are a series of questions specifically tailored for diehard fans of the franchise. So the Halloween team asks, can you provide us some context to the popular behind-the-scenes on-set photos of you drinking a can of soda with Michael's mask? And Nick responds, that photo is a fan favorite. It's hard to remember accurately why that was taken, other than to guess that we had a deal for free drinks and we needed to show them with the character. I redid the shot while doing my cameo in the 2018 film. And the Halloween team asks, other than playing the Shape, what other duties or jobs did you have on the set of Halloween 1978? And Nick responds, no other duties other than to help out from time to time if they needed an extra hand. The experience was valuable for me because of my interest in watching John work with the cast and crew and picking up some pointers for my eventual directing efforts. And the Halloween team asked, there have been so many great and talented folks who have played Michael Myers as well. If you had to pick one other person who has embodied the Shape, similar to you, who would be your go-to? And Nick says, that's a tough one. All the other guys did a great job. I've become close to James Jude Courtney, who is Michael in the new movies. He's a beast. I agree, Nick. I agree. And the Halloween team asks, considering that you can see a wisp of smoke during the scene where Annie is telling Laurie that no one is behind a bush, legends say that this smoke stemmed from John Carpenter smoking during filming. Do you remember catching this when watching the film? And Nick says, do not remember that. So I think John said on the commentary of the movie that that is his smoke, because he's off camera there. So maybe I'm wrong, but maybe it's Mandela effect, but I'm pretty sure John has already stated that. And the Halloween team asks, what led to you being cast as the Shape in the 1978 film? And Nick says, John was a buddy from school. They were doing pre-production at the sets that happened to be near my house. I met John there, asked if I could hang out on the set to pick up some pointers for my eventual work as a director. And he said, well, as long as you're around, put this on. Then he handed me the mask. And then the Halloween team asks, looks like this is the final question here. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with fans looking forward to playing Halloween? And Nick responds, with the team I met and the fact that John and Malik and all are on board, I have high hopes that the game will be something the fans will enjoy. And then he says in jest, and keep them busy until Halloween 14, which I guess we're probably going to see that here in 2030, maybe something like that. Who knows? Who knows? So then the article finishes up here. We hope that you've enjoyed this behind the scenes interview with Nick Castle, from revealing that the talented TJ Storm aided with mocap for Michael to Nick's funny and insightful musings. We hope that reading this gets you even more excited for everyone's favorite time of year, Halloween. And then look at this great shot. I'll just leave that up on the screen as we chat about this one here. Gotta love seeing him holding the knife there. I'm excited for Nick Castle to be involved in this. I think that the Halloween video game, all signs are pointing that this one is going to be really fun. But I'm curious to know what you guys think, so let me know in the live chat your thoughts on the Nick Castle interview, on the video game in general. Are you looking forward to this one? Does Nick's involvement get you even more excited? Let me know. And for the folks watching after the fact, jump on into the comments, answer those questions as well. And thank you guys so much for tuning into the video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content, and make sure that notification bell is hit, because we're covering movie news all the time on the channel. When it comes to horror, it's movies, TV, video games, comics, whatever, as long as it tickles our fancy, we'll be covering it right here. So click that notification bell and you won't miss a thing. Okay, guys, what do you got for me in the chat here? With the rest of the stories, I might just barrel through, but I'm curious to see what you guys got. Holy cow, we have 19 people in here. You all are amazing. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and all that kind of fun stuff. And let's see what we got here. It looks like we have a few new people joining us. We got Dell on Movies. What's happening, Dell? So good to see you. We got Linda Terra 1016. Hope you are doing well, Linda. I'm having a good week so far. Still kind of early. How's your week going? How are you? How are you? Let us know. That's a good news update. Hell yeah. Love seeing a little bit of that on I'll take all the Halloween news you can give me. What's happening, Mike Baum? Hope you are doing well. Great to see ya. Let's see. Nick Castle wrote the story for Hook, right? I can't remember if he has story credit for that. He was like this close to directing Hook. It was a project he worked on during pre-production for a really long time. It's one of those big what ifs in Hollywood because I think it was a huge passion project of his. And essentially what happened is Spielberg got interested in directing it. And once he expressed his interest, the studio decided to go with Spielberg. But it was, everything that I've heard about Hook is that it was a project that Nick Castle was involved with and would have directed for quite some time. Yeah, it's kind of wild. He directed Major Payne and The Last Starfighter. I know he directed those. Let's see what else we got going. We got I Like Scream and Ice Cream, one of our great channel members. Hope you are doing well. Welcome on in. Eli says this is definitely a day one pre-order. Hell yeah. Ashton is excited for the Halloween video game. Hell yeah. Me too, man. I'm going to have to update my, I'm going to have to get a new console for it. So time to start saving up for all of that. We're so pumped to have you here, Linda. It feels like it's been a few weeks or maybe a little bit longer. Sometimes time is just doesn't make any sense when I go live as much as I do. But always a pleasure to have you jumping in and hanging out with us. Okay, guys, so we've got quite a bit to cover. I really only have about 20 more minutes, so I'm going to kind of barrel through some of these news stories. So I think I'm just going to go through everything and then catch up with you guys once we're done. How about that? So let me just make sure we're okay over there. Okay. All right, guys. So earlier this morning, we just had this news story drop over on Bloody Disgusting. This article comes to us by way of Alex DiVincenzo. And the headline reads, Matthew Lillard teases Scream 7 return. Quote, it's not gonna ruin the franchise, end quote. Well, gosh, I certainly hope not. Yes. Let's get into this, guys. Let's see here. The article says, no one is more excited about Stu Macher coming back in Scream 7 than Matthew Lillard. The actor teased his long-awaited return at Silver Scream Con over the weekend. Quote, I got a call from Kevin Williamson in the middle of the day, Lillard recalls. I'm like, I have to take this phone call that's coming in. And I took the phone call, and we kind of small talked. He's like, are you interested in coming back? And I literally thought to myself, I've been waiting for this call for like 20 years. I was so excited. I know exactly where I was. I know exactly that time of day. I know what I was wearing. I was like, oh my God. And I was on a walk. It's so weird. It's like these moments that are burned into your memory, Lillard reflects. Quote, I'm thrilled to be back. The movie's fantastic, and I'm really excited for people to see it. He continues, quote, it's not going to ruin the franchise. That's the good news. I don't think. And he explains, quote, they were going to try and keep it a secret until the movie came out. I'm like, okay, we'll try it. So a whole bunch from Matthew Lillard there as far as like his story behind how it all came to be and his feeling for how Stu Macher is going to be handled or has been handled in the upcoming Scream 7 film. And then we've got a little bit of a chime in here from Skeet Ulrich, who says, quote, I know how much he wanted to do it. And when he got it, I remember just being elated for him because it's something he had been wanting for a long time, end quote. And yeah, it'll be great to see these guys. Maybe they'll be back together. That's what I'm guessing. I think my thoughts are that it's not going to be, you know, maybe there's a deep fake element, but I think we're going to see a little bit of a flashback. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of that Halloween Kills kind of flashback feel where they go back to the events before the first movie, just to sort of, you know, take a piece of that thread and tie it right back into that first movie and really make Scream 7 feel like it's anchored to the original and bring, not only bringing back Sydney literally by having her in the film again, but really tying it back to that original story. That's my hunch. It's not based on, I have no insider information or anything like that. It's not based on anything I've heard or read. It just is like, it's what I would like to see. And I just have a feeling that it makes sense that Kevin Williamson would do that, would tie this movie back to the original, since the original is his baby. you know, Wes Craven directed the first 4 films, but the idea is Kevin Williamson's idea. So very excited about all of this. I'm curious to know what you guys think, whether you're watching in the live chat or maybe you're watching after the fact. Jump into the comments. Let me know, are you a big Scream fan? Are you looking forward to Scream 7? How do you feel about Stu coming back? Are you just like I don't want it no matter what? Do you want him to truly be alive? Do you want it to be a flashback? Do you think it's going to be a deep fake? Like how do you think that this is going to happen with Stu? I'm very curious to know your guys' thoughts. So let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content. And think about hitting that notification bell because we're covering horror news all the time on the channel. Movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, toys, whatever. As long as we like it or we're interested in it, we'll be covering it. So hit that notification bell and you won't miss a thing. Okay, guys, I'm just going to jump on into the next story. This was something that we had wanted to cover on Hit the Bricks last night, but if you caught Hit the Bricks, thank you so much for tuning in, by the way. If you caught Hit the Bricks, the last half hour turned into a conversation about why it's important to have uncomfortable conversations and why it's important to talk to people that you may disagree with. That became sort of took over the last third of the show or whatever. So we didn't get to a couple news items. I'm going to cover them here. This one was brought to my attention by Allie Girl, who is, I believe she's one of our channel members, in and out of channel membership. I think she's a channel member right now. I could be wrong, but she's a good friend. So Allie Girl, thank you so much for bringing this to my attention yesterday on Twitter. And let's jump into this, guys, because I know this movie has a massive cult fan base. And I know a lot of people have been clamoring for a sequel to the anthology film Trick or Treat. So let's check this out. This comes to us by way of John Squires over on Bloody Disgusting. And let me just sort of reset and we'll get going. Okay, guys, so we've got some news about Trick or Treat having a 4K restoration hitting the theaters this year, I believe. So let's check this out. This article comes to us by way of John Squires over at Bloody Disgusting. The headline reads, Trick or Treat returns to theaters with new 4K restoration along with original Sam short film. All right. So we're getting a little bonus there. Okay, very, very cool. Let's check out this article. There we go. We got our guy Sam. So adorable. Such a adorable little demonic character there. Let's see here. The article says, director Michael Dougherty's Halloween classic Trick or Treat is coming back to theaters for its first ever I swear I can talk. Director Michael Dougherty's Halloween classic Trick or Treat is coming back to theaters for its first ever nationwide theatrical release this October, Bloody Disgusting has learned. Legendary Pictures, Warner Brothers Pictures, and Saga Arts are digging up Trick or Treat this Halloween, newly restored in 4K and back on the big screen with partner Fathom Entertainment, the leading specialty distributor of content to theatrical partners worldwide, for a special, long-awaited, nationwide re-release of the horror classic on October 14th and 16th. Fathom previews, quote, for 2 nights only, die-hard fans and curious newcomers will have the chance to relive the frights, the laughs, and the twisted traditions of this cult favorite. Plus, audiences will get bonus content straight from writer-director Michael Dougherty himself, end quote. Since its release, Trick or Treat has grown into a modern Halloween classic. Part horror anthology, part cautionary tale, and 100% wicked fun. At the center of it all is Sam, the mischievous spirit. At the center of it all is Sam, the mischievous spirit who punishes anyone who dares to break the rules. Sam's lasting impact has made him one of the top-selling Halloween icons nationwide, transforming him into the unofficial mascot of the holiday in homes across America. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about Sam. One movie, but man, there's so much gear out there. People love this character. I think the anthology side of things really helps with Trick or Treat. I think it's a really big benefit. And we got a nice shot there, a little landscape shot. I believe that's Anna Paquin's character. And then they just dive into, you know, the telling of the story, like just the storyline from the original Trick or Treat. We don't need to, you know, jump into that or anything like that. If you guys have seen it, you know what's up. But the article continues. Horror fans have long been thirsting for Trick or Treat to take its rightful place back on the big screen and in cinemas nationwide. Fathom is thrilled to bring this classic horror film back in theaters in sparkling 4K with our partners just in time for Halloween, said Tom Lucas, who is the vice president of studio relations at Fathom Entertainment. Quote, a stellar cast helps make Trick or Treat a frightening cinematic experience fans will not want to miss, end quote. And there we go. We got a little shot of Sam. This must be from the short. I don't think I've ever seen this before. So just to close everything out here, you know, the article says, in addition to the movie, fans will also be treated to a special featurette where Doherty revisits the Halloween memories that inspired Trick or Treat, taking us through the evocations. Is that the right way to say that word? Taking us through the evocations. That doesn't sound right either. Taking us through the evocations that brought the iconic Sam to life. Additionally, experience the very first appearance of Sam with the all-new 4K restoration of Doherty's 1996 animated short, Season's Greetings. This is very exciting, guys. I think this is really cool stuff when they put movies back out in the theater. It gives a chance for the original audience to experience the film either again or maybe the first time. Maybe they missed it originally. And it's a great way for people who've not experienced the movie to go check it out in the best way possible, which I do think is the theater, as long as people aren't being jerks in the seat next to you or around you. But I think this is one of those movies that families are going to go to. I do think this resonates with younger families, especially, you know, families where the kids are interested in horror and they're right at that age where a movie like Trick or Treat doesn't really cross any of those lines. So I think this is really cool news. I think it bodes well for other re-releases in the future, especially for a property like Trick or Treat. Maybe it helps kind of get the gears moving on a sequel. I know Michael Dougherty's talked about that for quite some time and nothing's ever happened with it. You know, maybe that's something I need to dive back into to see what the last update was. But, you know, hopefully it kind of gets that train moving again. But I'm curious to know what you guys think. So if you're watching live, let me know in the live chat. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Tell me all about your favorite anthology horror movie. And then specifically with Trick or Treat, which little vignette is your favorite? And is this something that you're interested in checking out at the theater? I want to know all your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content. And make sure that notification bell is hit because we cover horror news all the time on the channel. So movies, TV, re-releases, comic books, toys, video games, all sorts of stuff. If it's interesting and it's horror and it's something that we are talking about, even if I'm not into it, but the audience is into it, like Scary Movie, I covered that stuff here as well. So hit the notification bell and you won't miss a thing. All right, now moving on. I think we've got a couple more. Oh my gosh. Even when I try to go quick, guys, I can't even go quick enough. How about that? So let's go ahead and jump on over here. This one should be relatively quick. How many times have I said quick in the last minute? And I swear, I'll hang out with you guys for a few minutes after barreling through all this. If you've come in just recently and you're like, what the heck is Davey doing? It's a very busy day, very busy work day for me. Just trying to get some news taken care of here. All right, so here we go. All right, guys, so just the other day we got news that Lin Shaye is returning to the Insidious franchise for Insidious 6, which is exciting news. I think Lin Shaye is great. I mean, I think she's really good in these horror movies. I think she's really funny in the comedy movie she was in. Like, you know, she's been in There's Something About Mary and Kingpin, and she's hilarious in those. So this is an actress that's very, very talented. It's not just us horror nuts that get to enjoy the fruits of her labor. It's everyone. She's quite a performer. So this is a great news here. This article comes to us by way of John Squires over at Bloody Disgusting, and it reads, Insidious 6. Lin Shaye will star alongside Amelia Eve in next summer's sequel. So let's dive right in and check out this article. The article says, While The Conjuring Last Rites continues dominating the box office, the other long-running paranormal franchise that James Wan created is gearing up for its own return. Deadline reports that franchise star Lin Shaye will be back in the upcoming Insidious 6, starring alongside Amelia Eve from Mike Flanagan's The Haunting of Bly Manor. Additionally, they've learned that Jacob Chase will direct Insidious 6. Chase wrote the screenplay with David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick, who also wrote The Conjuring 2. And that is quite a name there, David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. All right, so moving on here with the article, Insidious 6 will take you back into the further on August 21st, 2026. And in addition to the upcoming 6th installment in the mainline series, the franchise will also be expanded upon with the spin-off Thread, an Insidious Tale, which doesn't yet have a release date. But the article says here that Mandy Moore and Kumail Nanjiani will star in Thread, an Insidious Tale. That's interesting casting. I don't think I've ever seen Mandy Moore act in anything. I know she's acted before. I don't think I've seen her performances. So that'll be very interesting. And then they just kind of break down the franchise here. But all of you fans of Insidious, you don't need me to break the franchise down. I'm going to be honest, full disclosure, I've only seen the first 2 films in the franchise, and I liked them both. I really enjoyed the first one. I enjoyed the second one, maybe quite not as much, but I feel like it did a really good job of expanding the story, and just building on that lore. So I think this is great news, for Insidious fans. I'm curious to know what you guys think. Having only seen the first 2 movies, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, I love this franchise. I'm not going to be phony like that. I really did enjoy those first 2 movies, and I really do love Lin Shaye as a performer. But I'm curious to know from the hardcore Insidious fans out there, what do you guys think? Is this, because I've heard some mixed reviews on the last couple movies here in the franchise. Is this something that gives you confidence moving forward with Insidious? And this is kind of a weird question. What do you think about the fact that it's just a numbered sequel? Do you think that's sort of their way of kind of washing things clean and being like, we're not doing the colon with the subtitle on the sequel. We're just going to name this one Part 6 because we're just kind of going back to the original foundation of the franchise. Maybe I'm pulling that out of nowhere, but it seems like unless they change the title of the film, it does seem like it's done with purpose to call it Insidious 6. So anyways, if you're watching in the live chat, let me know your thoughts. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know down below your thoughts on the Insidious franchise. My gosh, your thoughts on the Insidious franchise and your thoughts on Lin Shaye returning to the series. I'd love to know. And thank you so much for checking out the video. Please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content. Because guys, we're covering horror news on the channel all the time. Movies, TV, video games, comic books, toys. As long as it's something that piques our interest, we're going to cover it. So make sure you hit that notification bell and you won't miss a thing. Okay, guys, one more story. I swear to this one, I had to, guys, these friggin' TCU movies, I just don't care. So that's the unfiltered Davey right there. I just don't care. And let's see, there we go. Right, we got the right thing pulled up, and whatever. I'll tell you all my thoughts here. We'll just dive into this one. I saw this on Twitter like first thing this morning, and then I've had people sending it to me. So I'm like, okay, it seems like people want to see me talk about this. I've not seen any of the Twisted Children's Universe movies yet, so just to give you that. But I'm gonna have a sip, and then we're gonna blow through this one. Okay. All right, guys. Well, the next installment of the Twisted Children's Universe is in development right now. It's underway, and we've got our very first images of Jiminy Cricket from the Twisted Child's Universe version of Pinocchio, which is called Pinocchio Unstrung. And yes, Jiminy Cricket is voiced by Robert Englund. And I'm guessing that's one of the reasons why we're getting some news here on this thing. So let's check out the story. This one comes to us by way of John Squires over at Bloody Disgusting. And there we get a little bit of an image. For all you folks that are watching after the fact, you're going to see a beautiful image taking up the entire screen. It'll just be gorgeous, even though I'm not wild about what we're getting here. But we'll dive into that. Let's read the article first here. So the article kicks off with, in addition to the 2 Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey slasher movies, the Twisted Child universe, known as the Pooniverse, also includes the recently released Bambi, The Reckoning, and Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. And up next is Pinocchio Unstrung. Horror legend Robert Englund will voice Jiminy Cricket in the film, and the Pooniverse team has shared 2 images this week that give us a look at the character design. If you're thinking this particular version of Jiminy Cricket looks a tad bit like another iconic character that Robert Englund is known for playing, well, that's probably not an accident. Reese Frake Waterfield is directing the upcoming Pinocchio horror movie for Jagged Edge Productions, with makeup effects legend Todd Masters tasked with creating the film's sinister Pinocchio doll via practical effects. Frake Waterfield tells Bloody Disgusting, quote, "The film will embrace practical effects at every opportunity, ranging from the doll itself to the... oh my gosh, I'm getting all... Frake Waterfield tells Bloody Disgusting, quote, "The film will embrace practical effects at every opportunity, ranging from the doll itself to the title card of the film. Having a budget significantly higher than my last film, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, I'm aiming to make this the definitive Pinocchio horror film and my best movie to date." Richard Brake will also be starring as Puppet Master Geppetto. And then they're listed the rest of the cast here. And yeah, all of these movies, they say, the various films in the Twisted Childhood universe are building towards Pooniverse, Monsters Assemble, which will also feature Pinocchio amongst the deadly gang. So let's take a look at this. This, they say practical effects. I'm curious to know how they're going to pull this off practically. This looks, I can't tell. I think this is just drawn with a digital pen, which I think is, obviously totally legit. I'm not really into the design here. I get it. It kind of looks like Freddy and everything. He looks like he's made of wood, which I understand for Pinocchio. That makes sense. I think that Jiminy Cricket, he looks wooden here in this second picture that we're showing on the screen. He doesn't look so like scaly or bug-like. He's a cricket. It would be cool if he kind of looked like a cricket. I understand they're interpreting these characters the way that they want to. I don't know. And maybe this whole Twisted Child's universe thing just isn't my thing. I don't know. I could be, the old guy fuddy-duddy here in the room as far as all this stuff goes. I think it's exciting that Robert Englund is part of it. I think Richard Brake is a really great performer as well. Depending on what he's given, the performance is going to vary, right? But I think he's usually pretty dependable. And this one seems to have the highest profile out of any of the movies they've made. And it seems like, from what I've heard, these movies are getting a little bit better as they progress. But I don't know. For all of you guys that have watched these Twisted Childhood universe movies, or Twisted Children universe movies, whatever it's really called, the TCU, let me know your thoughts. Am I missing out on something? Is this something that only people who are like diehard Terrifier type fans are going to enjoy? Like, do I have to really be digging on like the schlockiest of the schlock, or the most exploitative of the exploitative? I don't know. If you're watching live in the chat, let me know your thoughts on the TCU, on this Pinocchio film, the design particularly here of Jiminy Cricket in the film. I'm very curious to know what you guys think. If you're watching after the fact, jump on into the comments. Let me know your thoughts as well. And thank you so much for checking out the video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share the channel with someone who you think would dig this kind of content, because we're covering horror news all the time here. Movies, TV shows, character designs of movies that I'm not even really interested in. As long as I think that you guys are interested, that it piques our interest in some sort of way, whether it's, a video game or a comic book or even a toy or just something within the horror sphere, we're going to cover it right here on the channel. So make sure you have that notification bell hit and you won't miss a thing. Okay, guys. It's time to go full screen and catch up with y'all. 19 people watching. Really appreciate the patience of all you guys. I'm just running on I have a short amount of time to get through everything. I'm not trying to ignore anyone, so let's like barrel through here and say what's up. I see some people that I love everyone in the community. So I'm seeing some people that I love that have entered the chat that I've not yet said hello to. So let's see what we got. We got Prince in the house. What's happening, Prince? So good to see ya. Talking about Scream, Ashton says Stu will probably be a flashback or vision. Okay. There we go. Tara, aka Linda, says, I do believe it will more likely be some sort of AI deepfake calls to mirror Roman's voice changer. It could be that too. I think the reason why I say the other thing, Linda, is because I want it to be the other thing. I don't want it to be the voice changer AI deepfake, but it totally fits. Scream has always been like right there along with everything else in society. You know, it's part of the meta aspect of it, so it wouldn't surprise me. And maybe there's just a part of me that's like kind of interested in seeing the flashback. So many people love the flashback in Halloween Kills. A lot of people say it's the best part of the movie. I'd kind of like to see something like that in Scream. I think it would be a good way to sort of bring everyone back to that original, like I had said. Ooh, The Long Walk won't leave my brain and heart as well. Top tier king. I've been hearing really good things about The Long Walk. I'm probably going to have to check that one out. Yeah. Let's see who else we got in here. We got Mika from Double Feature Podcast. Said we'll definitely be checking out Trick or Treat in the theaters. Hell yeah, Mika. Hope you're doing well. Hope you and Kira had a great weekend. I hope your football teams won if you're a football fan. And there we go. We got the Double Feature Podcast channel link there. Thank you so much for dropping that there, Eli. Guys, if you don't sub over there, go give him some love. We got Paula Fitzhenry in the house. What's happening, Paula? So good to see ya. We got Jeff from John Doe Juggalo. How are you doing, Jeff? Always a pleasure. Sean says I might rewatch the Insidious movies for this year's October challenge. All right. Yeah, maybe I need to watch those other ones. I haven't heard the best stuff about, like, the best remarks about the later movies in the franchise. But yeah, like I said, I do enjoy the first two there. My challenge for this October, I'm trying to watch at least 31 new movies this spooky season, and I think I've watched 13 so far. So really, really good. Maybe I'll do like 50. Who knows how many? I'm going to keep it going. There's so many movies from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s that I've not yet seen. I'm trying to catch up on all of them. And most of them are movies that you guys have suggested. So keep an eye out. I will be dropping, I'm going to do like a series of shorts where each short will be, a condensed review of each one of these first-time watches for me. Mandy Moore is amazing, and This Is Us. Welcome on in, T. Parker Evans. Welcome in, one of our great channel members there. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen her act and everything, but I'm well aware. I had forgotten that she was in that show, but now that definitely strikes up a memory there. Let's see here. I'm always open to seeing what they will do with the new Insidious installment. If we're having Elise back, I'm curious about the timeline of the film. Yeah, what do they go back to the past and use some de-aging technology? There we go. We got John Doe Juggalo's channel there dropped in the chat. Thank you so much, Eli. Appreciate you. Holy cow. We got Reign of Horror dropping a $9.99 super chat. Just doesn't even want to say anything. Just wants to drop that $9.99, the mic drop of super chats. Thank you so much, Reign of Horror. I hope you are well. I really do appreciate the support, man. Really, really do appreciate that. Especially, it always blows me away when people drop a super chat and they don't say anything, or they just say, hey, everyone, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm like, that's the sweetest thing. Like, you don't even, a lot of times, at least when I drop a super chat, I'm like, I got something to say. So thank you so much, Reign of Horror. Really appreciate you. We got Happy Sanjo in the house, one of our great channel members. How you doing, Coy? So great to see you. We got Davey James hanging out. How are you doing, Davey? One of the new members of the Death Squad. Welcome on in. And let's see who else we've got. Everyone's saying hello to one another. Jared Arnold, one of our great channel members, says, what's up, Davey? The $1 million Scream 7 question. Is Stu still alive? Excited for that one. I don't think he is. But if they're going to put him in the movie, I just hope they have a really solid way of bringing him in that makes sense story-wise. And I know I can't even articulate what that is for me, because it's very difficult for me. Like, if you gave me that job, all right, Davey, we're going to bring Stu back. He's going to be alive. Now write it so it makes sense and doesn't piss everyone else off. I'd be like, the fuck? I think that's a really tough thing to do. In my mind, I don't want it to be that way. I want it to be some other way to work Matthew Lillard into the movie, you know, the flashback, the deep fake, if that's what it ends up being. I think we've just gone so long without him being mentioned that if he were alive, we would have, one of the characters would have said something in passing, right? If one of the people that tried to kill you when you were in high school was still alive, and people have been trying to kill you your whole life since high school, every handful of years or every few years, you would be very well aware that one of those people were still alive, like in a hospital or in jail, right? I feel like it would have been mentioned. Now they can always write around that, and people that want to see that could be like, well, not technically, but it's like, you'd think that they would. You'd think that they would. Okay, guys, I got to close this out here pretty quick because I got to watch Alien Earth Episode 7. I have to take a shower. I'm jumping on Fachi's stream here at 9:15 Eastern, which is coming up in just over an hour. We're going to watch Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I'm super pumped. I love that movie. And then right after that, I'm shooting a review for Alien Earth Episode 7. And oh my God, I'm going to try to work out while I'm watching this episode of this show. So wish me luck, everyone. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. I think we had around like 20 people here kicking it with us. An impromptu, unannounced live stream to cover some horror movie news. Thank you so much for joining me. Love and all good things to each and every one of you guys. I love all of you. The community is amazing. The Patreon members, the YouTube channel members, our Death Squad mods, you guys are awesome. And everyone that's a subscriber that hangs out in the chat, you're telling your friends about the channel, or, you know, whatever it is, you're engaging in the comments section. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Like Sam from Our Life in Horror. What's happening, Sam? Hope you're doing well. Another one of our channel members right there. I have not used any of those digital codes. Yes, guys, Eli sent me some digital codes, and we're going to do some sort of giveaway or some sort of raffle. I have been completely overwhelmed and inundated with way too much going on right now. So I've hardly been able to prepare anything because I've been working my fucking ass off, if you excuse my language. But yes, Eli, I want to set something up. I want to do it the right way. So either do like the pinwheel thing or maybe do a trivia kind of thing. But I've not used them for myself personally. I am reserving them as giveaways for you guys. So keep an eye out for that, guys. That's coming sometime this week. We'll be doing some digital code giveaways here. So keep an eye out for that. You guys are absolutely amazing. What's happening, Chris? How are you doing? We got Chris from Movie Misfits Video, one of our great Death Squad mods. Let's see here. They will all be AI deepfake calls. I can totally see that for sure. Yes. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to do the news and run, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. I hope each and every one of you joins Matt Fachi and I over on Fachi Cinema to watch Halloween 3 Season of the Witch here in about an hour. And I will be back later on this week. So, oh my goodness. You know how it goes around here, guys. Until next time, I've been and will continue being Davey Deathray. Take care.